Hey everyone, welcome back to Grace Note Forge. So I've done quite a few casting projects on this channel, and one of the top questions that I tend to get is about casting shrinkage. So today I want to talk a little bit about what casting shrinkage is, why it tends to happen, and what you can actually do about it. And this is a pretty common thing that happens to pretty much all metal casted pieces, where the end result will be just a little bit smaller than your original model that you're trying to cast. And how much your piece actually shrinks is super dependent on kind of the specific casting process that you're using. So I'm going to explain a little bit more, but just to kind of get an idea of what's going on with my personal casting setup, I typically start off with a 3D printed model that's made in a castable resin. That then gets encased in investment, and after that sets, it's then put into a kiln to burn out that model. And then once it's completely clear, I then use a vacuum casting table to help pull the molten metal down into the fine cavities of the mold. And right about here is where most of the shrinkage tends to happen. And the reason for this is that as that metal is heating up and then becomes molten, it actually has so much energy in it that it allows the atoms in the metal to kind of move around more freely. And in doing so, they kind of take up more space. So when that metal cools off and goes from a liquid to a solid again, those atoms kind of pack together and get more dense. So they take up a little bit less space. And like I said, a lot of the shrinkage tends to happen during this phase change from a liquid to a solid, but there's also a degree of shrinkage that tends to happen just from the temperature fluctuation of basically everything that's being used. So the flask, the investment, the type of metal that's being heated, and even the heating and cool rates, how fast you're doing it. And that's not even to mention if you're doing something like a wax mold, where you have to heat up wax and then inject it into a mold. It can shrink at that stage too. So all that to say, there's just way too many variables that kind of contribute to shrinkage to really be able to predict it. And it's something that makes metal casting really experimental with basically every new piece you're doing. But from what I've seen with doing some research and just experimenting with my own casting, it typically ranges around 1 to 5% of shrinkage, which doesn't really sound like a lot, but with jewelry making, that can make a huge difference if you're trying to be really precise. And 1 to 5% seems to be in a pretty acceptable range, but it could even get to around 10%, which would really throw you off. So basically, the only way to really fix this is to compensate for that amount of shrinkage that'll happen either in the 3D model or in the wax carving that you're doing. So in the past, I've been scaling my pieces up around 2 to 3% in the slicing software just to account for that shrinkage. But anytime that I make like new changes, either to the castable resin that I'm using or my investment or my burnout schedule, I like to do a few test castings just to see if that percentage kind of changed. So that's what I'm going to do today with the model that we made. And I'm going to be printing this again with the Jamg resin that I reviewed a bit ago, which has been working really nice. But I am changing my investment type too, which is why I'm doing this test. So I'm using some Prestige Optima, which is new to me, but I've heard some really good things about this investment for resin casting, so we'll see what it's like. So for this test, I'm not changing the scale in the slicing software at all. I just want to print it at 100%. That way we can see what the difference is after casting. And for anybody who's interested, these are the current settings that I'm using for my Frozen Sonic Mini. which have been working out pretty good so far. So after printing, I just remove the supports like I normally would, just by cutting them off and then sanding them smooth. And after curing the resin, I then added some wax sprues, and I added an extra one even though it probably didn't need it. But I'm going to be casting this one in bronze, so it really doesn't matter if I waste a little bit of extra material. I then mixed up the investment with a ratio of 39 to 100, making sure to add the powder to the water first. And after that investment cured for a few hours, I then put it in the kiln for my standard burnout cycle, which I'll show right here for anyone who's interested. And I'm using some ancient bronze casting grain, which I have the furnace set to around 2100 degrees Fahrenheit. So after quenching the flask and doing a little bit of cleanup, this is the raw casting that I was left with. And now I can measure it and see the difference between this casting and the original model. And the ring size that I was shooting for was about 18 millimeters in diameter. And the final casting came to 17.8 millimeters in diameter, which means it only shrank about 1.1%, which is really crazy. That's the lowest amount of shrinkage that I've definitely gotten so far. So I'm really happy with that, and it's such a low amount of shrinkage that in this case, it's really not going to matter that much. I could probably get it down to that perfect 18 millimeters just by sanding and finishing the ring. So it's really cool to see that this is a pretty decent combination of materials and processes to get such a low amount of shrinkage. I'm definitely going to be doing some more tests like this, also using silver and with some different shaped rings and stuff as well. Shrinkage can kind of change depending on the size of the model too. So if you're doing like a larger signet ring or something like that, that could also affect the results. So if you're like me and doing all of your castings yourself, I really recommend doing a log for basically every casting that you do. It doesn't need to be crazy in depth, but if it helps you understand where shrinkage might have happened based on any kind of changes in your process, it'll really help you in the future for making any kind of new pieces that you want to do. All right, so thanks for sticking around this long. I know this is something that can be a little dry and confusing, so I really hope it helped answer a few questions. And I have some really cool casting projects that I'm going to be sharing pretty soon, so be sure to stick around if you want to see any of those. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.